Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fluctus Channel. For over a century, Newport News Shipbuilding, a division of HII, has been responsible for constructing every nuclear-powered aircraft carrier in the U.S. Navy. From the first of its kind, USS Enterprise, CVN-65, to the cutting-edge Gerald R Ford class carriers. Located in Newport News, Virginia, this historic shipyard spans over 550 acres along the James River. It remains the sole designer and builder of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers for the U.S. Navy. It is also the primary shipyard capable of performing midlife refueling and complex overhauls. The U.S. Navy has 11 active aircraft carriers in its fleet. All of them were built here at Newport News Shipbuilding. Of these, 10 belong to the Nimitz-class, commissioned in 1975, and 1 belongs to the newest class, the Gerald R Ford class. The lead ship, USS Gerald R Ford, CVN-78, was commissioned on July 22, 2017. It is named after the 38th President of the United States to honor his service in the Navy and his nation. This giant machine is 2.5 football fields long and half a football field wide, capable of accommodating about 4,540 sailors and more than 75 aircraft daily. While the hulls of the two classes are quite similar, the Gerald R Ford is equipped with state-of-the-art technologies, including the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, EMALS, Advanced Arresting Gear, AAG, Ship Self-Defense System, SSDS, Dual-Band Radar, DBR, and a streamlined weapons handling process. Changes to the flight deck have resulted in a higher sortie rate, around 160 per day, with surges up to 270. The Gerald R Ford will replace its predecessor, the Nimitz-class, on a one-for-one basis. Currently, 2 more Ford-class carriers are under construction at Newport News Shipbuilding: USS John F. Kennedy, CVN-79, and USS Enterprise, CVN-80. USS John F. Kennedy is scheduled to enter service in 2025. The ship's keel was laid on August 22, 2015, and significant milestones have been achieved since then. One of the most critical systems on board is the new Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, EMALS, the mechanism responsible for deploying aircraft from the flight deck. The system was first demonstrated with a no-load test before entering the dead load phase in February 2024. During this phase, A wheeled car-like platform weighing up to 80,000 pounds replicates a real aircraft to assess the stress placed on the catapults during actual launches. From Kennedy's bow into the James River, the wheeled platform is launched, retrieved, and relaunched multiple times to verify that EMALS meets the expected operational requirements for the Navy's fixed-wing aircraft. In late October 2019, a new milestone was reached with the flooding of the dry dock where the John F. Kennedy CVN-79 was built. It was a breathtaking moment, celebrating the commitment of all involved teams. Slowly, over 100 million gallons of water filled the dock over several days. As the water level rose, the ship began to lift from the blocks that had supported it since keel laying. For the first time, USS John F. Kennedy CVN-79 floated. Six tugboats guided the massive vessel to Pier 3 at Newport News Shipbuilding, where it would undergo outfitting and begin its testing program. Sailors assigned to the pre-commissioning unit John F. Kennedy worked alongside their fellow sailors on other carriers to practice various operations and systems before the ship's official entry into service. They are guided by 5 core values: integrity, humility, professionalism, teamwork, and legacy that define the spirit of John F. Kennedy. As part of their training, the crew participates in underway replenishment, unrep exercises. During this exercise, sailors work together to simulate the transfer of fuel, food, and supplies, executing complex maneuvers with supply lines, and handling critical equipment to ensure a smooth and efficient operation between vessels. Beyond carrier operations, Newport News Shipbuilding is vital in supporting other critical fleet assets, such as destroyers. Designed for speed, agility, and firepower, destroyers are a true striking power within the Navy fleet. Operational readiness is a must to fulfill their mission of protecting large ships such as carriers. Therefore, the crew conducts routine maintenance daily to keep the ships in peak condition.
Course 060I, sir. My order is 060, sir.
Very well.
Key tasks include lubricating mechanical parts, replacing worn-out components, and performing corrosion control to withstand harsh maritime environments. Every system is thoroughly inspected to sustain combat effectiveness. For more extensive servicing, destroyers undergo dry docking for phase maintenance or damage repair. A notable example is the Arleigh-Burke-class guided missile destroyer USS Fitzgerald, DDG-62. In 2017, the ship entered dry dock for repairs after colliding with the merchant vessel ACX Crystal. To quickly stabilize the ship, USS Fitzgerald was towed to the ship repair facility in Yokosuka, where technicians and shipbuilders made significant progress in dewatering, defueling, performing hull and superstructure repairs, and placing key systems in layup maintenance. USS Fitzgerald was then moved from the dry dock to a pierside location in preparation for transport to Huntington Ingalls Industries, HII, for further repairs and upgrades. Many pieces of equipment required replacement, while others needed partial or complete refurbishment. This included hull mechanical and electrical systems, as well as command, control, communications, computers, and intelligence and combat system equipment. After 2 years of restoration and modernization, USS Fitzgerald rejoined the fleet stronger than ever, ensuring an extended lifespan. Just like surface ships, submarines also undergo periodic dry docking to remain mission ready. To begin the process, the submarine heads to port under its own power. There, tugboats assist by providing lateral control and ensuring a precise approach to the designated dock. As the submarine approaches the dock, a crew member swings the weighted end of the heaving line and throws it towards the quayside operators. The weight helps the line travel farther, allowing the shore crew to catch it. Once caught, the shore personnel pull in the heaving line and loop the mooring line around the bollard. The submarine crew then carefully adjusts the tension of the lines to maintain a stable position alongside the quay. Additional lines are thrown and secured to prevent the submarine from moving. During this operation, the submarine's commanding officer and navigator work closely with the harbor pilots, who know the port down to the millimeter to ensure a safe operation. Push by push, they carefully maneuver the submarine into the dry dock. From both sides of the dry dock, they continuously adjust multiple mooring lines to keep the submarine centered and prevent it from colliding with the dock walls. Now, the crews can easily access its hull, inspect critical systems, and begin the necessary repairs and upgrades. After months of maintenance, the submarine is ready to undock. The dry docking process is reversed. water is pumped into the dry dock, and the submarine begins to regain buoyancy as the level rises. Once afloat, the personnel on the sides monitor its position, and then tugboats take over, guiding it to the pier side. The submarine only has one step left before returning to its mission, the sea trials, where thorough tests are conducted to ensure all systems function correctly after maintenance. That is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content.